Good afternoon, this is Joseph Oler with Minilabs 1 for 3520. Starting over here, we have the Faker library, which allows us to create random lists of names and sentences. It's a really cool library, can generate a lot of random stuff. We have random for creating random values, CSV for creating or for reading and writing two files, and then sys, I have it as more of a debugger to fully exit the program if an error is ever made. Initially, before any questions started, I made a write data file that takes 3 arguments, the data being written, the name of the file, and then the names of the columns. And it's pretty self-explanatory. If the amount of column titles equals the length of one row of data, then we're going to start writing it. Otherwise, the column titles don't quite add up. And that's only applicable for question 2 and question 5. But question 1, we have define a function that reverses a string. First, I check if it is a string using this if instance, and then I just return -1, so every value backwards. Otherwise, exit the program. Pretty simple. I use the Faker library here to make a random sentence. Next question. We're going to use the fake library to create a 100 random names using some list comprehension, random integers between 3 and 80, 100 of those using list comprehension, and then zip those together, turn those or cast those into a list so that we can send it to our write data function, and we need to cast it so that it can iterate over that first row. Part B, read the file. So I have the data file. I read it, skip the first row, which is just titles. For row and reader, every row, essentially check if the age value is greater than 18. If it's greater than 18, print out the ones that are greater than 18. Question 3, we have our square. So we're going to square every value using lambda. Takes a list, check if the list is a list and that everything in the list is either a float or an int for everything in the list. We're going to cast that as a list being returned. Then we're going to map every x value onto every value of num list, and then round it to 3 decimal places after squaring it. I do this because when I make my list, I don't make integers, I make floats. So I rounded all my floats to 3 decimals, created 100 of those using list comprehension. Send that to the function. If it's not a list of numbers, exit. Question 4, we're going to find the length of a list of strings. So I have my list of strings here that I'm sending into the string length function. If it is a list, in fact, and if every instance of the list is a string, then we're going to go into this lambda function that maps every x value of the list that we gave it and return it as another list. Otherwise, system exit. Here we have the list is made using the Faker. Faker.sentence makes 100 random sentences using list comprehension. Send that to the function. Boom. Done. Question 5. We're asked to make names and random salaries. So I use the Faker again to make 100 more random names. I use I create 100 random values between 40,000 and 200,000. And then I floor them to 5 or every multiple of 5,000, so that a salary is only every 5,000 values. Usually, there's nothing like 24,234 in a salary. That's not a real salary. Everything's rounded to like 5,000-ish. I create the data file by zipping them together, cast that as a list, send that list here so that I can iterate over it when I'm writing the data to check if the first row is in fact the same length as the number of titles I have. And then part B, we're going to reopen it and then we're going to create a threshold using user input. If it's below, any value that it possibly could be, then we're going to keep them in a loop until they enter a real value, or if it's above any value. Then we're going to read it, skip the header row. Filtered names, we're going to use the filter using the lambda function, so it sorts every instance where the salary number is greater than threshold, and then returns the sorted list, well, the filtered list for every row in reader, and then keeps adding on to it. It's like a iterative. And then let's see, print it, and then we're going to print out, well, if nobody earned higher than that threshold, then it's just going to be none. Print out a statement. There was one case I tried that it just kind of stalled, so I needed a if condition. But then we're going to print out every person who was above that threshold. So now I'm going to run it. Are you ready for question 1? Let's make this a little bigger. Yes, I am. All right, question 1, write a function. Change the reality capital fast, and then the reverse of that. You ready for question 2? Yes, I am. Write a code. It's still writing because Python is slow. But in my write data file, I have this little indicator of, yeah, it's being written. Although it probably should be writing. Oh no, what's taking forever is, I think, the faker making all these names. Then we have a bunch of random names. Yep, everyone's over 18. Great. Well, not everyone. Guess I'm ready for question 3. It takes a list of numbers, returns those numbers squared using lambda. We have those values. Question 4, list of strings. So it's making the list of strings now. Well, it's making a bunch of sentences, making 100 different sentences, and then it's going to pass that list of sentences. I'm pretty sure it's just the faker that's taking forever. Find those values of every length of every sentence. Next, part A, generating some names, getting some salaries. And then again, the faker is taking fucking forever. Let's say that we have 9123 as our threshold. Oh, look at all these people that earn X amount more than the threshold. Oh, look at Donald Bernard makes 95,000 more than 90,000. Good for Donald Bernard. And that's it. So thanks for watching.